This video, we're going to be talking about when we um, build our RV port that we're living under right now. So we're modeling this off of one that my parents had, and we got some cheap 3x3 box steel and started laying it out to where the idea is that the tin will go on lengthways, and then every place where it bends, we planned for a rib in the tin to be there so that it would bend over without kinking. Here we're actually using some spare pieces to make a work table. We built one, got it where we wanted it, and then used it as a template to build all the other ones. So we built all of the bows the same, except when we started putting on this strap iron to build or to join them together at the top, one side's welded on, and then the other side is bolted on, and that way we could build it on site or put the last pieces together on site. And if we ever want to sell it, we can be able to take it down and actually transport it, and it won't be 30-foot wide bow. It's not quite 30 foot. Also, how we were going to mount this to the ground is actually drive posts in the ground. You'll see that a little bit later, and then slide the bows over the top of that post that's sticking up out of the ground about 3 feet, and then have a set screw that sets it into that post, and that keeps it from blowing away.
A little more. There we go.
Yeah, from this angle, this was not a smart move because we're like, if I drop those even an inch, they're going to be falling on top of Dan. So we decided to stand him upright, and then he could just take them away from me one at a time and lay him down. It's kind of nice being the guy that drives the Bobcat because everybody else has to do the real work. I get to sit inside in the air conditioning and the heater. All right, so here we're getting our batter boards put up so that we can run string lines and get it all squared up. It's 50 feet long, and then I can't remember how wide it ended up being. There's all the posts that we're going to drive into the ground with the post driver, and then they match one on each side, and then we're dropping the bows, the carport bows over the top of them. Sort of welding trailer. We got that trailer and put a portable welder in it. Oh, it's been many years ago, and that's been the handiest thing on the farm. Here we're trying to polish them up so that we can paint them, get the mill scale off and the rust and everything else that's on them, and get them cleaned up enough that we can paint them. So there's, one side has that plate welded on, and then we slide the others in, and we pre-drilled everything over on our template so that it was flat and in the right. We squared it, kind of squared it. They're not square, so it's hard to square something that's not square, but we made it to where the sides were parallel. How's that? And then we laid all the bows on top of that template so that they would all be the same, and all of our holes would line up. But then when we get over here, we don't have a flat place to put them to get the bolts back in. And so this was quite a struggle. We're just trying to see if the proof of concept works, see if we can get it slid over the two posts that we have driven, and just kind of make sure that everything is going to work like we think it's going to work. Hell, make sure we can lift this without it folding up like a taco. So we don't even know if it's going to hold itself. It was hard to figure out what you needed to do to get those bolts to line up. The holes were just the right size for those bolts. They were 9/16 bolts, and whatever the next size is up on the drill bit. And then we're trying to line up, 4 holes, one in the strap iron on top, one in the strap iron on bottom, and then one through each side of that 3-inch tubing. We thought if we got it close enough, we could just thread it on in and have it suck itself back, through the hole.
I don't need it.
Is it getting tougher?
tap on it, but we didn't want to drive it so hard that we messed up the threads either. So we were just tapping on them. And finally got it to go. But this got easier on the other bows when we actually got the we got some soft horses made. We got the obligatory. That's not going anywhere. Yeah. So here we're driving in the. We did the 4 corner posts, and we're trying to get it plumb and on our string lines. And so here we're testing, doing a test bit. So that's as high as we can go on the boom of the arms of the loader, and then we have that boom on there, and I have a hook hooked onto that plate, and then we still aren't tall enough. So then Dan and Carrie push the bottoms out, and this gets a little sketchy right here because you'll see in a second. Carrie's moving Duke so he doesn't get squashed. Didn't get squashed. And so right here, the chain actually falls off. And so now I can keep it from falling back towards me. But if it goes past and falls away, I have nothing. It's just going to fall. And when we got it up to vertical, it kind of slid down. Now the tops of those posts were mushroomed out a bit, and we kind of worked it down, jiggled it left and right, and just its weight pushed it onto the mushroomed out posts, and then we couldn't get it back off when we decided that yes, it was going to work, and we're going to do that method. So we ended up using we had a C-clamp tied to a piece of metal, and then a jack to jack it up, and we'd jack inch on one side, then go over and jack an inch on the other side. And we finally got it to where it came off there, and then after we drove all of these, we actually came back with the angle grinder and ground off all of the flared portion of the post that happened. This is a little gauge that we made to try to get our spacing right, and we thought it would also help us with not having the bottom kick out one way or the other, so that everything came out square and true, from one side to the other, because we knew that it had to be fairly accurate if our tin was going to work out correctly, and all of our screw heads and everything were going to be in line. So we just took our time, made sure we were on our string, made sure we were plumb. We left a little over 2 feet sticking out of the ground, and when we got it to a place that we were happy with it, we move on to the next one. This is all fill dirt that they leveled out a pad for us when they were doing all the dirt work. And so, some of it would push in real easy, especially as it was wet. But then all of a sudden we'd find a random rock, and the bottom of the post would kick over as it hit that rock. So all in all, it turned out really straight. We didn't have to jack with many of the posts to get them in line. And then there's with all of the bows set on, and then again they have set screws, so we set a line so it had drainage from front to back, and set the screws to that line. And we've had some pretty good windstorms since then, and everything's been good. We put 1x2 box iron up and bolted it to every bow. I think that's just with Tapcons. Yeah, we just used Tapcons and Tapconed it to every bow, and that helped strengthen it a lot. And then we hired this guy that let us, rent a scissor lift, and then he came and helped us for a day, and that's what he does is build barns. So he's familiar with working with sheet metal more so than we were, and also not very scared of heights. I'm not a big fan of heights, so me in the bucket was a lot, let alone jumping outside and crawling around on those bows like they were. Uh, we got the paint on. We did a coat of primer, Rusty Metal primer from Rust-Oleum. It's that brown, and then we came back over the top of that with just Rust-Oleum, black Rust-Oleum. Dad had tractor duty. It's very important, but also very boring. But yeah, so the guy with the scissor lift just came out and helped us all day, and we got all of it tinned in one day. So that was nice. This is what inspired us to build our man bucket that you might see in future videos that goes on a quick attach on a Bobcat, or we have a quick attach for this tractor now too. But that's just a, what are they called? IBC totes, something bulk container. They have plastic liners that they ship all kinds of bulk liquid in. We get them around here for herbicides and pesticides that farmers use, and then they have a lot of these frames left over. So we got one of these frames, and it's just strapped into the bucket of the tractor. It's secure, it's not going anywhere, but it's also, you know, not OSHA rated. We wanted to make sure this was high enough that our RV could get in there. If we ever did anything different, like our toy hauler was actually taller than our RV before we sold it, we wanted to make sure that all of that would work. And if anything, we overdid. We have a lot of room above. It was funny when we poured our patio, the cement truck with its tandem axles up above the hopper and everything, it was like, oh, we're pretty sure you'll fit. And then as he backed under there, he had like 6 feet above it. It's really tall. And there's the bins. So like I said, each rib was designed to go over where a weld, bend in that was. And that kept it from trying to kink on us. It worked really well. You could get up and walk on it, but you had to make sure you were kind of walking over where the bows were. You didn't want to get way out in the center of that, or it would have buckled that tin. And that's it. It's all finished up. And we had our septic tank in, and we have an RV dump right there that actually drains into the septic tank also. So that when we moved Daisy over to our RV, that we were able to just keep it hooked up to the plumbing. And then when we poured our basement floor, we poured a nice big patio so that we have a little outdoor living space also, because we're going to be there for a while we finish the house. Hope you enjoyed it. Bye.